"Where's the man from yesterday?" He said his name was Issa. At those words, Kofi collapsed. She fell to her knees. "I killed Issa. The river took him." In a village nestled in the savannah, a long time ago, in the 1900s, there was a couple everyone talked about, and not in a good way. Their names were Adama and Kofi. Adama sold oranges at the market, but she had a temper like a wildfire. She got angry fast, shouted loudly, and sometimes scolded the neighbors' kids for small mistakes, like they'd knocked over her orange basket. People shook their heads and said, "Adama's heart is like a dry stone." Kofi worked in the fields for a rich man in the village. He dreamed of having lots of money, but his pockets were always empty. Some whispered that he stole vegetables from his boss's fields to sell them secretly. Was it true? No one knew for sure, but rumors spread faster than the wind. Adama and Kofi had no children, and that made people even more curious. Some said, they're cursed because of their bad tempers, that's why they have no babies. Others thought, they're so bitter, like an unripe fruit, because they don't have kids. Adama and Kofi lived in a small mud house, a bit away from others. One evening, when the moon made the river shine like silver, Adama felt something new in her belly. She ran to Kofi, who was still working in the dark. "Kofi," she whispered, out of breath, I think a baby is coming." Kofi dropped his hoe, his eyes big like stars. "A baby? Adama, are you sure? After all this time?" She nodded, and for the first time in a long time, she smiled. "Yes, Kofi. The spirits have heard us." When Issa was born, it was like the sun rose in the middle of the night. The village midwives who helped Adama shouted, "This child is a blessing. Look at his eyes, they shine like the river under the stars." The news spread fast, and curious villagers came to see. "A baby with Adama and Kofi," they said. "Have the spirits forgiven their wrongs?" Some doubted, but others, seeing little Issa, felt their hearts soften. "Maybe," an old woman whispered, "maybe this child is their light." And you know what? Issa's love changed everything. Adama, who used to yell at children, became patient. One day, a boy knocked over her orange basket at the market. Everyone held their breath, expecting her to explode. But Adama knelt down and said softly, "It's okay, little one. Help me pick them up, will you?" The boy, surprised, did, and people whispered, "Adama's changed. It's the child, it's Issa." Kofi stopped chasing easy money. He worked hard but came home early to hold Issa. "My son," he'd whisper, "you'll be great, greater than me." The rumors of stealing faded, because Kofi walked tall, a proud father. Issa grew up, and what a boy he was. At 3, he followed Adama to the market, carrying a tiny basket like hers. At 5, he helped Kofi plant yams, laughing when dirt got on his hands. His smile was like gentle rain, and his kindness touched everyone. But life wasn't always easy. Adama and Kofi were poor, and Issa didn't have nice clothes like other kids. Sometimes, village children teased him. "Issa, with your broken sandals," they shouted. Issa looked down but didn't reply. He'd run to the river, talking to the fish like friends. One day, he whispered, "I'll make my parents smile. I'll be someone great." And you know what? The spirits seemed to hear him, because Issa was smart. When he started school later than others because of money, he amazed everyone. Under the big mango tree where the teacher taught, Issa listened with bright eyes. He wrote answers so good that the teacher said, "Issa, you're like a tree growing fast. Keep going, and you'll touch the sky." Years passed, and Issa's family became an example in the village. People who once called them cursed now said, "Look at Adama, so gentle with her son. Look at Kofi, working hard for his family." Issa's love made their hearts bloom, like a seed in dry soil. But life is like the river, it flows, and sometimes it brings challenges. Soon, Isa would grow up, and a tough choice would come, testing their courage and love. When Isa passed his primary school exams, the village drums played loud. Neighbors, who once said mean things about Adama and Kofi, danced under the stars. Isa, Adama's son, did it, they shouted. But a problem came. To go to high school, they needed money for fees, books, a uniform, and notebooks. One evening after dinner, Adama talked to Isa alone. "My son," she said, her voice heavy, "school costs a lot. You're big now, come work the fields with your father, the land always gives." Isa looked down, his heart tight. "Mother," he whispered, "I love school. I want to learn, become a businessman, and help our village grow." Adama frowned, but her eyes were wet with tears. "Isa, what if we don't have enough money? I don't want your big dreams to break you." Kofi, listening by the fire, stood up. "Adama," he said firmly, "our son isn't meant to farm. He's like an eagle, not a bird that stays on the ground." Adama crossed her arms. "And how will you pay, Kofi? With what? Our oranges and your yams?" Kofi put a hand on her shoulder. "I'll find a better job in the village. I'll work until my hands bleed, but Isa will go to school." Isa, with teary eyes, whispered, "Father, Mother, I promise to work hard. I won't let you down." Adama sighed, but deep down, she knew Kofi was right. "Okay," she said finally, "but, Kofi, don't make me regret this." Kofi kept his promise. He left the rich man's fields and took harder jobs in the village. He carried heavy grain sacks to the market, fixed roofs in the rain, and dug wells under the hot sun. His hands got rough like wood, his back bent a little, but he came home smiling. "Isa," he said, "study well. Every drop of my sweat is for you." Adama sold more oranges, saved every coin, and even sewed clothes for neighbors. Together, Adama and Kofi did everything so Isa could study. Years passed, and Isa grew wiser. In high school, he stayed among the best. The teasing stopped because everyone saw his strength. When he passed his final exams with top honors, the village burst with joy. "Isa, Kofi's son, has reached the sky," people shouted. But a bittersweet news came. Isa got a scholarship to study international business in a big African country far away, where cities sparkled like stars on the ground. "I want to be a businessman," he told his parents. "I want to build bridges between people and grow wealth like trees." The day he left broke their hearts. Under the village tree, Adama hugged Isa, her tears wetting his shirt. "My son," she sobbed, "be strong. But don't forget our village river. It's waiting for you." Isa, his throat tight, whispered, "Mother, I'll come back. I promise." Kofi, with wet eyes, put a hand on Isa's shoulder. "Isa," he said, "be great, but keep your heart pure. Come back to us." Isa nodded, unable to speak. "Father, Mother, I'll make you proud." Then, with a small bag and a heart full of hope, he left. The villagers watched him walk away, a lone figure on the dusty path, until he was gone. Isa arrived in a big African city where houses touched the clouds and streets glowed like rivers of light. Everything felt strange, heavy books, smart teachers' voices, and dreams of a huge future. At first, Isa felt lost. "Who am I here?" he whispered at night, looking at the stars. "Just a village boy." But he remembered his father's words, "Be great, but keep your heart pure." So, he studied hard, his locks, thick braids he let grow, swaying in the wind like a sign of his strength. His classmates called him the village wise man because his business ideas shone like pearls. "Isa," a teacher said, "your mind is like a fire that lights up far." Isa smiled, but his heart sighed, "Mother, Father, if only you knew." Isa succeeded. He was one of the best in his school and started his own business. "Mr. Isa," a customer said, "your ideas grow money like trees." But for 15 years, he couldn't contact his village. War, broken roads, and poverty cut everything off. Are they still there? He wondered, touching his locks, now long with grey streaks. Time had changed him, his once soft face had scars from struggles, and his locks made him unrecognizable. Rich and respected, Isa decided to go back. I want to see the river again, he told a friend. I want to give my wealth to my parents. His heart beat with joy and fear. What if they're gone? He whispered, holding a bag of gifts tightly. He took the road, his locks dancing under his hat, until he reached the village. But everything was different, the fields, the houses, all changed. At 11 p.m., he wandered, lost. An old woman, Mama Ewa, deaf and mute, saw him. Her eyes, cloudy with age, still sparkled. With gestures, she asked, "Where are you going?" Isa, guessing her question, answered softly, "I'm looking for Adama and Kofi, my parents. I'm Isa, their son." Mama Ewa, unable to hear or speak, didn't recognize his scarred face or locks. With signs, she said, "Come, follow me." She led him to an old couple, bent with age. Isa, exhausted, fell asleep with his bag beside him, not knowing these neighbors were Adama and Kofi, grown old too. "Who's this stranger?" Adama whispered to Kofi. Kofi shrugged. "A traveler, let him be." Adama couldn't sleep. In the middle of the night, she tripped over Isa's open bag while coming back from the bathroom. She saw stacks of money shining under the moonlight. Her heart, once softened, raced. "Kofi," she whispered, shaking her husband. "Wake up, look at this money." Kofi woke up, mumbling, "What, woman?" Adama, hands shaking, said, "This stranger is rich. Let's take it all, and we'll never be poor again." Kofi argued, "That's wrong, Adama. He's our guest." But Adama, her old selfish ways returning, snapped, "Think of our poverty. The spirits gave us this." Kofi, weak, gave in. "May the river forgive us," he whispered. In the quiet, they took a knife, killed Isa, not knowing he was their son, and threw his body in the river. They hid the bag under their bed. Mama Ewa lived with her grandson, Kweku, a lively boy who helped her understand people by translating their words. That night, Kweku was falling asleep in their hut, and Mama Ewa, sitting outside, saw Isa wandering. As Kweku drifted off, he faintly heard Isa's voice telling his grandmother, "I'm Isa, looking for my parents, Adama and Kofi." The words faded in his sleepy mind. In the morning, Mama Ewa, led by Kweku, went to Adama and Kofi's house. With gestures, she asked, "Where's the man from yesterday?" Adama, her face blank, said, "He left at dawn, went home." Mama Ewa, confused, made a surprise gesture. Kweku, watching, suddenly said, "Grandma, wait. Last night, I heard the man. He said his name was Isa, looking for his parents, Adama and Kofi." Adama flinched, and Kofi turned pale. "Isa," Adama whispered, her voice shaking. She ran to the bed, pulled out the hidden bag, and found papers among the money. Unable to read, she handed them to Kweku. "Read, little one," she ordered, her heart pounding. Kweku took the papers and read aloud, "Isa, son of Adama and Kofi." At those words, Kofi collapsed, his heart stopping like it was struck by lightning, dead on the floor. Adama screamed, "I killed my son. Isa, my child." She fell to her knees, clawing the dirt. Neighbors rushed in. "Adama, what are you saying?" the woman shouted. Adama, hair wild, sobbed, "I killed Isa. The river took him." She ran to the riverbank, crying, "Isa, forgive me." The villagers, learning the truth, whispered, "They killed their son for money. The spirits judged them." Adama lost her mind. Her eyes became empty, her thoughts wandered. She roamed by the river, repeating, "I killed my son." Children, scared, ran from her. Years passed, and her cries became an echo in the night. Greed, the elders said, is a snake that chokes the heart. Adama and Kofi betrayed Isa's love, and the river judged them. Mothers told their children, "Live with fairness, because the river never forgets. Look. Love can change everything, like rain makes flowers grow in the desert. Isa made Adama and Kofi better people. Also, courage and hard work, like Kofi and Isa showed, can build big dreams. But be careful, money can be like a snake that bites your heart. Adama and Kofi forgot love because of money, and the river judged them. Finally, love your family, because time passes quickly, like flowing water. So, live with a kind heart, be fair, and love deeply. Tell me in the comments what you thought of this story and share it with others to inspire their hearts.